Kakadosh Masechet Betzah Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. We are starting 3A1 Masechet Betzah. We just mentioned, we actually finished this, what we just mentioned before, that the rabbis do make a decree to another decree when it's all one decree, which means usually the rabbis will never make a decree on another decree, because if it's already rabbinical once, we're not going to make another rabbinical on a rabbinical. But when they saw fit that they needed to make it in order to uphold the first original rabbinical decree, then they didn't make a gzera li-gzera, and that's what the Gemara counts or calls chada gezerahi. It's all one gezerah. Okay, it's all one gezerah. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yitzchak Amar. Rabbi Yitzchak now is going to give now a fourth explanation why, according to Shita Bet Hillel, is it prohibited a beitzah which is nolda biyom tov. And Rabbi Yitzchak says, gezerah mishum mashkin shezavu. It's a gezerah decree because of the liquids that come out of the fruit. It's under the fruits are going to come and fall off the tree. It's the liquids that come out of the fruit that this is going to be prohibited on Shabbat. So the beitzah, which is nolda, is like the liquids which are coming out, which means like this. What happens if I have grapes and all of a sudden liquid comes out of those grapes on Shabbat? Am I allowed to drink the liquid? No. Why not? Because that's a gezerah. Maybe you're going to come, you're going to squeeze the liquids. Now, squeezing a grape is an isur doraita. It's a toladav dash, mefarek toladav dash. It's one of the 39, right? Avot melachot, right? It was mefarek, right? Dash is the av, and mefarek is the toladah, is a subcategory of that. So when you come and you take something out, you express or you take it out from something else, that's called mefarek. You're extracting it. Thank you. Right, extracting it, and that's a toladav dash. Very good. So now, if you're putting it on the food, so it's a food to a food that's permitted, right? And lemon is the whole machloket, and shitat maran is lemon always permitted because lemon whatever. But for sure, grapes and olives is a problem. Okay, that's midoraita, right? Which means the fruits of Eretz Yisrael. Now, there's going to be other ones which might be the rabbinical, and then there might be other ones which might be even permitted. So, for example, Maran says mutar lischot limunish v'Shabbat. You're allowed to squeeze a fruit, a lemon on Shabbat. Not every type of fruit, but a lemon. So there's a whole question. Why this, that? Okay, fine. But that's a machloket and shitat maran. But now what happens is that this is called mashkin shezavu. Mashkin shezavu, which means liquids which come out on their own. So we just said, if they came out on their own on Shabbat or Yom Tov, they're prohibited on that Shabbat and Yom Tov. So the beitzah, which is nolad on Yom Tov or Shabbat, it's like mashkin shezavu, and therefore it's going to be prohibited. So Amale Abaye comes and he asks a question against this Sisod, Mashkin Shezavu Tamamai. What's the reasoning why? Right? You're not allowed to have Mashkin Shezavu. Why? Because maybe what? Maybe you're going to come and you're going to be sochet the animal, the sochet the fruit. So ask the Gemara, he gufa gezerah. That in itself is a gezerah. Ve'ana nekum gezerah li gezerah. And we're going to come and we're going to do a gezerah to another gezerah. What does that mean? Meaning, if right now we have one gezerah, you're not going to do one gezerah to another gezerah. So says the Gemara, the exact same answer. It's all one gezerah. So since it's all going to be one gezerah, that's why it's the exact same answers we mentioned before. That means the concept of that we're making gezerah li gezerah, we ask the same question. The answer that it's all one gezerah is the same answer as well. Yeah. So he comes and he says this, Kulehu. All the Amoraim, Rabba, Rav Yosef, Rav Yitzchak, yeah? Rav Nachman, nobody said like Rav Nachman. Because if you remember that Rav Nachman was talking about a Tarnegolet, which is Omed Legadel Beitzim, which is Muktzeh. And therefore the Beitzah is also Muktzeh because of, right? The Beitzah is also going to be a Asur because of Muktzeh. Kikushan, because of the question that we asked above, that if you're going to tell me that the Machloket between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel is, right, if it's going to be Muktzeh or not, so why are they only arguing about the Beitzah? They should have also argued about, right, the mother of the Beitzah, the Tarnegolet as well. So all these, how many opinions did we learn? We learned 4 different shitot. Why is it that Bet Hillel prohibits to eat this Beitzah on Yom Tov? The first one was Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman said we're talking about a Beitzah Hamed Legadel Beitzim, right? And therefore, if it's going to be a Hamed Legadel Beitzim, so we had a question: why is only the Beitzah going to be Asura because of Muktzeh? The mother as well should be Asura Mishum Muktzeh. Okay, that was one answer. So everybody else didn't want to answer Rav Nachman because of this question. They also didn't want to answer like Rabba. Rabba was the one that said it's a tsunami minadin because of hachana. You didn't prepare it. Remember, a beitzah is already finished in the stomach of the tanegol a day before, and then it comes out a day later. So there was no hachana. You didn't prepare beforehand, and you always have to prepare before Shabbat and Yom Tov. And if you didn't prepare, so it stays muktzeh. So that why hachana letnu, because they don't hold of the concept of the yisur of hachana, because it's like a chidush, right? But he says Ela Rav Yosef. But according to Rav Yosef, why didn't he say like Rav Yitzchak? Rav Yosef was because of perot hanoshrim. Rav Yitzchak was because mashkin chezavu. It sounds very similar. They're both almost the same. Perot hanoshrim was the fruits that fall off the tree, and mashkin chezavu was the liquids that come out of the fruits. Why doesn't Rav Yosef hold like Rav Yitzchak? That we say perot mashkin chezavu. So Ela Rav Yosef ma'itama lo Rav Yitzchak. Why doesn't Rav Yosef not say like Rav Yitzchak? So he says, Aman lecha, Yosef is going to answer you, Beitzah uchla, uperot uchla. La puke mashkin de la vucha. He says, no. A beitzah is food. Yeah, perot is food. Yeah, the what's it called? That's going to come to exclude mashkin, that it's not mashkin. The beitzah is a food, it's not mashkin. And the same thing with the perot. So therefore, don't compare. So that means, what are you telling me now that is compared to mashkin chezavu, liquids that come out by itself from a fruit? A beitzah is not a liquid. A beitzah is an egg. And the same thing with the fruits, right? It's not a liquid. So because of that, they say it's a different halacha. Rav Yitzchak. So why doesn't Rav Yitzchak then say like Rav Yosef? Why Rav Yitzchak was the one that said mashkin chezavu? Why doesn't he say because of perot hanoshrim? Right? Because of the fruits that fall off the tree. So he says, Aman lecha, he's going to answer you, Beitzah blu'ah, umashkin blu'in, la puke perot de migalu. He says, flip the coin. Flip it on its side. He says, a Beitzah is absorbed in the chicken. Do you see the Beitzah? You don't see the Beitzah. The Beitzah is inside of the chicken. He says, the liquids are inside of the fruit. Do you see the fruit? You don't see the liquids. The liquids is absorbed inside the fruit. The fruits are revealed. So therefore, you compare the Beitzah to the liquid because they're both hidden, and not to the fruits, which is revealed. Okay? That's the way, that's how we learned it. So says the Gemara, the Af Rav Yochanan Savar, also Rav Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yitzchak, Gezerah Mishum Mashkin Shezavu. Because of the Gezerah, also because of the liquids which are coming out. So Rav Yochanan Rabbi, the Rav Yehuda, but Rav Yochanan asks a stira, contradiction between Rav Yehuda and Rav Yehuda. He says, Umeshani, and he answered, Tnan, we learned in the Mishnah, En Sochatin et Perot, Lotzi Men Mashkin, we're not going to squeeze fruits to take out liquids on Shabbat. And if they came out on its own, asurin, it's still going to be asur. Rabbi Yehuda says, Im le'ochalin hayotze memutar. If you have these fruits here to eat, so then whatever comes out of the fruit is permitted. But if you have the fruits there to drink, then whatever comes out of it is going to be prohibited. Huh? Right, which means that it all depends what the reasoning of the fruit was there. If the fruit was there to eat, you're allowed to drink whatever comes out. If the food was there to drink, you're not allowed to drink nothing. Okay? Why? Because if not, we know the combination. Yeah, you're going to squeeze it in. No, but it came out on its own. We know the people very well. You understand? We know monkey business. You understand? No. It doesn't work with us. Huh? Sure, it's a soup. That's what we're saying. It's a soup. So, Alma, so you see from here, Kol ochalin le Rabbi Yehuda, any type of a food which is meant for food, right? According to Rabbi Yehuda, uchla defratu. He's preparing his word for that. Yeah, he says uchla defratu. What does it mean uchla defratu? It means that it's food which is separated from another food. I mean, according to Shittat Rabbi Yehuda, any type of food is food separating from food, so it's a food. Unminu. So 1 second, we have a contradiction on this now. Why? Ve'oda Rabbi Yehuda says Rabbi Yehuda matne adam al kalkala shel perot biyom tov rishon. Which means like this: you have a kalkala of perot. You know what a kalkala is? With a kaf, not with a kuf. Kalkala is a basket. Yeah, a basket of fruits. So you have a fruit basket. So now in this fruit basket, it's tevel. Tevel means untithed produce. Produce that you do not take off, trumot u'masrot. How much of what is truma gdola? 1/50. 1/50 is Truma Gdola. Truma Gdola goes to who? Truma Gdola goes to who? To the Kohen. Afterwards, what do you take off? 1/10 to the Levi. What is that called? Maaser Rishon. Maaser Rishon. Then the Levi comes and he takes, what's that called? No. Trumat Maaser or Maaser Mina Maaser. Think about it. Maaser, from the Maaser. You just took off Maaser Rishon to the Levi. That's 10%. Now the Levi is going to take off 10%, give it to the Kohen. So it's Maaser Mina Maaser or Trumat Maaser. Just remember the words Truma. The second that is Truma, Truma goes to the Kohen. There's no Truma that goes to the Levi. Truma, Gudola, to the Kohen. Truma, Trumat Maaser, Kohen. Just remember, either Trumat Maaser or Maaser Mina Maaser. You're taking Maaser from the Maaser. That goes to the Kohen. Afterwards, what do you do? On years, when do you do Maaser Sheni? On years?
1, 2, 4, 5.
Chazak Baruch, voila! Yeah? 1, 2, 4, 5. You take off Maaser Sheni. Maaser Sheni is another 10%, which you're going to eat in Jerusalem. Chazak Baruch. And then afterwards, what are you going to do? Yeah? Yeah, it's contagious. Contagious. Yeah? See, he wants you to keep the seat. Yeah? He wants you to keep the seat. Yeah? So what happens? He says, then afterwards, Maaser Ani is years 3 and 6. Maaser Ani, to the Aniim. Okay, and in year 7, what do you do? Rien. Why rien? Shemitah. Chazak Baruch.
7 years after,
No. 7 times 7. Yeah.
49.
Fine. Says the Gemara. Ulminu. We have a contradiction. Right? There's no Yovel. We don't know the Yovels. We know when Shemitah is. When is Shemitah?
This year.
This year Shemitah. Yeah, it's going to be a big problem. What happens is that a person has a kalkala of tevel. He has to take off Tumot Masrot on condition. So on Yom Tov Rishon of Rosh Hashanah, he's going to come and take it off on condition, and he's going to eat it on the second day. Which means even though you're not allowed to separate Trumot Masrot on Yom Tov, right? But that's mitakeni. So you're not allowed to separate Trumot Masrot on Yom Tov. Nevertheless, if you forgot to separate Erev Rosh Hashanah, you could separate on Yom Tov the Trumot Masrot on condition. And basically, what you're going to say, if today is a weekday, so then I just took off Trumot Masrot on the rest. And if today is holy, it's nothing. Tomorrow you say the same thing. If today is weekday, so then it's Trumot Masrot on the rest. And if today's the real Rosh Hashanah, so then it's nothing because I already separated it yesterday. So according to that, now I'm going to eat it on the second day. Doesn't matter what, I could eat it on the second day. The same halacha would apply to a Beitzah, which is going to be born on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. You should be able to eat it on the second day. So therefore, says Rabbi Yochanan, Basheni'in, you could be medayek, you could deduce from here that on the second day, yes, but Rishon no. On the first day, no. So it comes out here that only on the second day did Rabbi Yehuda permit a Beitzah shenolda b'yom Rishon, right? Because of the reason we just said now, but not on the first day. So therefore, it comes out, right, that this is soter our Mishnah. Our Mishnah said that all the perot that are going to come, that you take it in for food, it's going to be permitted. And if it's going to be for liquid, it's going to be a problem. So he says here, 1 second, what about here? Here it's for food, and here it's going to be prohibited. So says the Gemara, Mishani Rabbi Yochanan answers, Mukhlefet HaShita. What does it mean, Mukhlefet HaShita? Flip the shitot. What does it mean by flip the shitot? Is when the Mishnah says, En sochatin et perot, and then we mentioned Shitat Rabbi Yehuda, right, that he says that it's going to be Oser Mashkin, that they come out, right, Shiatsumi Perot, right, that they actually brought them in. According to that, it comes out that really Be'emet Rabbi Yehuda holds that even, right, something which is going to be for food is going to be problematic. Okay? So now comes and says the Gemara, yeah, he comes and he says as follows. So the fact that we come and we ask the stira between the two halachot of Rabbi Yehuda, which is the halacha of Mashkin Shezavu and the halacha of the Beitzah. So says the Gemara, Shema Mina Chatamahu. So it's mashma, Mashkin Shezavu and Beitzah is the same reasoning. So if it's going to be the same reasoning, right, the one that's going to be Oser Mashkin, right, which is, he's going to say because of that, it's coming out on its own, is Oser in the Beitzah. And the one that's going to be Matir Mashkin, the Mashkin, is going to be Matir in the Beitzah. So therefore, you see from here that Rabbi Yochanan holds that the reasoning to prohibit the Beitzah, according to the reasoning to say that it's a sur, is because it's like Mashkin Shazavu, like Rabbi Yitzchak. Now, even though it's considered food. So therefore, it comes out that this is going to be the question against him. Gimel Amud Bet. So says the Gemara, Ravina comes and he says, Leolam lo tepuch. Really, be'emet, you don't have to switch it around. Meaning, don't switch around the shitot from the Mishnah in Shabbat. Rabbi Yehuda ledivrehem de Rabbanan kaman. So that which Rabbi Yehuda comes and he's talking about, that the Beitzah is going to be permitted only on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, not on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. He says that's according to the words of the rabbis. That they said, that means he was answering up the Shitat HaChachamim. And therefore he told them, Ledidi, according to me, afilu barishon hamishata. So comes Rabbi Yehuda and he says, according to me, my shita, it's permitted even on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. But why? Because it's food separating from food. We said food that separates from food is food, so you're allowed to eat it. But according to you, the rabbis, but you have to admit to me that still the Vesheni Sharia, at least the second day it still be permitted. Why? Because there's 2 days of Kedushot and they're distant from each other, which means, right, each one is Kadosh only misafek, which means we have 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. There's only 1 day of Rosh Hashanah, but we do 2 days because of the safek. So because we do, but each one is separate, so therefore, mimanavshach, one of them is chol. It's not 1 Kedusha, it's 2 Kedushot. So if it's 2 Kedushot, one of one day, one of the other day. So therefore, now that I have mimanavshach, it's going to be okay. So the rabbi said, Lo, Kedusha achati. It's 1 Kedusha. Okay, it's 1 Kedusha. So therefore, since it's going to be 1 Kedusha, that's why if it's going to be a sur on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, it's going to be a sur on the second day of Rosh Hashanah as well. Why? It's 1 Kedusha. 1 Kedusha, it's all one topic, one inyan. If you hold it's 2 Kedushot, so fine. So the first day is Kadosh mitzad small, second day is Kadosh mitzad small. Mimanav shach, if it's prohibited on the first, it's going to be permitted on the second. But if you hold it's all 1 Kedusha, so it's prohibited on the first, prohibited on the second. Okay? Ravina now is going to answer up another answer, right? To answer up the stira, the contradiction in Ula. Right? In Rabbi Yehuda, he comes and he says, Ravina bered Ula, Rav Ula. Ravina, the son of Ula, said, Hacha betarnegolet haomede legadel beitzim. This is a tarnegolet which is not for food, but rather for the eggs. Right? To put on top of the eggs. Rabbi Yehuda letameh de lemukse. And Rabbi Yehuda goes according to his reasoning, right, about the mukse. So comes the Gemara, and therefore he comes and he says it's not the reasoning because of mashkin shazavu, but rather the problem because of the mukse. So says the Gemara, one second. Meitve, we're going to ask the following question. Doesn't matter whether it was a Beitzah which was born on Shabbat or Yom Tov. You're not allowed to take this Beitzah to cover a utensil, and you're not going to use it in order to come and to use it as support for the bed. But you're allowed to put on top of it a utensil so it doesn't break. Meaning, I cannot come and use this egg for something else, but to protect the egg I could do. So I could take a utensil, boom on top, so now nobody's going to step on my egg and crack my egg. Yeah, but I cannot use the egg for anything else. Usfeika asura. Now, if this is a safek, right, it's going to be asur misafek. Exactly. Well, yeah, it's a very good thing. How could that be? Right, that you're putting the bed in order that it doesn't. Here it says that if you're going to put it al chuda, right, it could actually come and take it. Meaning, it all depends where you put it. If you put it on the egg over here, it'll crack. If you put it on the hard part, it will stay strong. That's what it says over here. Yeah. Yeah.
Depends where you put it on, the type of a mattress too.
And it depends if you
That's
jump
an
on the bed or
advertising.
not. Some people have a minhag that they jump on their bed. If they jump on their bed, they could say kaddish. They're gonna make tortilla. They're gonna make omelets. You understand? But if they sit down on their bed, they'll support.
There is an advertising of eggs of a mattress, and they go and they say, "Look how great this is," and they go like this, hard, and just to make sure that this is a real egg, they take it and they crack it.
They crack it to show that it's a real egg. Okay, there you go. So it says over here like this: so you're allowed to put it upside down, a utensil, in order that it doesn't break. Now, what happens if it gets mixed up with 1,000? They're all going to be asurot. Why? Because it's not batel berov, right? Because every single beitzah is a chashash of yisur. So therefore, since it's going to be a chashash of yisur, right? So that's it. It's going to be asur even be'elef. Meaning, usually we say betul berov, that if it gets annulled in the majority. Here, there's no bitul berov. Here, completely. Yeah, afilu be'elef lo batel. So Bishma le Rabba dama mishum achana v'sfeika doraita. Says the Gemara 1 second. Rabba, he holds a safek doraita. Why? Because of achana. Which means when we're going to take all the answers, which ones were problems doraitas? So Rabba was a doraita because Rabba was because of achana. V'chot sfeika doraita. So now it makes sense. When we wanted to say there was a safek in it, we're not going to say safek sfeka, right, or all these things. What is it? Safek doraita. Right? But he says, but Rav Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak, that both of them said that it was because of a gezerah, whether it's gezerah because of perot anoshrim, the fruits that fall off the tree, or gezerah because of the mashkin shezavu, the liquids that come out, which was Rabbi Yitzchak, right? 1 second, right? It's the Rabbanan. It's mishum gezerah. So svek the Rabbanon, v'chutz the Rabbanan, the kula. We should go lekula. What's going on here? Answers the Gemara. Sefa atan lesafek trefa. You're right. The sefer was talking about it was a beitzah, that it was a safek if it came from an off which was terefa. Meaning not that it's a safek whether it was born on Yom Tov or not, because then it could be a drabanan of a gezerah. It's a safek whether the beitzah is kosher or not. Okay, and therefore that's why it's a safek doraita. So it's a safek doraita. It's a sur. Iachi says the Gemara, if you're going to tell me that, let's see the sefer. Nitarva be'elef kulan asurot. If it gets mixed up in 1,000, all of them are going to be asurot. Everything's going to be asur. So says the Gemara, if you're going to tell me it's a safek, whether it's going to be Yom Tov or Chol, so it's something which has matirin, which means like this. If you could right now come and you could eat something today, but you have to rely upon bitul, or you could eat it tomorrow, according to all opinions. What's better? Tomorrow, according to all opinions. So even if it gets mixed up in 1,000, it's not batel. Meaning usually, right? Usually you would say batel. What do you mean batel? That's it. I annul it. No. If you could do something right means you do it good according to the halakha. Even if you want to annul it, not in 60 times, even in 1,000 times, it's worthless. Why? You do it properly. You do it well. That's called davar sheyesh lo matirin afilu be'elef lo batel. Even in 1,000, it's not going to be annulled. Okay? So, but if you're going to tell me now that it's a safek terefa, it's coming from a terefa, davar she'lo matirini. So, davar she'lo matirin, right? So, v'tibatel beruba. So, 1 second. If it comes from a terefa, there's no heter for a terefa. If it comes from a terefa animal, kaddish, there's nothing to talk about. So, therefore, batel berov. So, why shouldn't it be batel berov? Why do we say afilu be'elef lo batel? V'chitem, and now if you're going to tell me beitzah hashuva, something hashuv. Something which is hashuv, it's not batel. Yeah, somebody wanted to tell me, right, about croissant. Right? Is croissant batel? Hashuv. Yeah, davar hashuv is not batel. Something which is important is not batel. You heard? Something which is important, not batel. Yeah? So therefore, what are we saying now? Beitzah hashuva. A beitzah is hashuv. Velo betel, and therefore it's not going to be batel. So hani chalamandamar, this is good according to the mandamar that says kol shadar kalimanot shaninu, right? Which means that anything which is going to be matzui, that bnei adam are makpidim to sell it according to numbers. How do you sell eggs? By the dozen. You sell it by numbers, not just stamp.
By the PA.
Right? Okay, fine, but usually it's by the dozen or 18. You're right, but usually it's by numbers basically. So he says, right? Right? It's still the chashuv. But according to the mandamar that says et shedar kalimanot shaninu, which means the Mishnah is talking about only something which is normal, right, to be sold according to the number, which means everybody sells it according to the number, right? So then it's not going to be batel. So Michael, what are you going to say then? Because basically the question is, how do you sell eggs? Do you sell it by the number or not? If you sell it only by the number, so then it's not going to be batel. But what happens if it's normally sold by numbers, but sometimes it's also? So it says the Tanakh, we learned in the Mishnah. Imagine right now you had chavilet tiltan. Chavilet tiltan are kitniot, which make the food tastier, but it's kilei kerem. So what are you supposed to do? Yidalku. You're going to burn it, right? Because remember, kilei kerem is a surim manaa, and you have to burn it. Kilei kerem is kilaim. You know what kilaim is? Kerem, the vineyard, you're not allowed to plant it with other things. So imagine I came and I planted with the vineyard other types of fruits. So that type of grafting is called kilaim, kilei kerem. Kilei kerem, you're not allowed to benefit, you have to burn it. Now says the Gemara, im nitarvu be'acherot. What happens if this got mixed up with other ones? And this one, the other ones got mixed up with other ones, right? And kulam, you have to burn everything. Everything is a sur. Kulam yidalaku. right? Chachamim omerim, Chachamim say, Ya'alu. You're going to separate, right? You're going to separate, right? You're going to separate. Chachamim omerim, Chachamim says, Ya'alu be'achat u'matayim. You know how you could annul it? In 1 and 200. What does that mean? Right? When you have 200 of eter, keneged one of isul, that's the shiur in order to be batel kilaim. Meaning certain things, whether it's truma or other things, it's not batel b'shishim. It's batel in 200. Yeah, it's echad u'matayim. So it's 1 and 200. It's not shashim. Some people think it's shashim. It's not shashim. It's 1 and 200. Truma, kilei keren. All these things, if it gets mixed up, it's 1 and 200. Okay? Shayar b'mi omer, b'sez b'mi, et shedarko limanot mekadesh. Something which they always sell in a number, et shedarko limanot, that which you always sell in a number, mekadesh, is going to prohibit everything in the ta'arovet. Chachamim say, eno mekadesh. There's no fruit which is going to prohibit, that is going to prohibit the entire ta'arovet, and it's not going to be batel berov. Ela shishat dvarim bilvad. There's only 6 things which could prohibit. Rabbi Akiva says 7 things. What are they? Egoze perech, walnuts. But what is it? How does it translate there? Egoze perech?
High quality nuts from perech.
Okay, high quality walnuts from perech. Rimone badan, high quality pomegranates from badan. Yeah? Haviyot setumot. We're talking about closed barrels of wine. Chilfet tiradin. We're talking about, what is chilfet tiradin? It's a type of a tered which has searot kashot like kotzim.
There are the kids.
Yeah? So again, egoze prach, rimone badan, chaviyot stumot, chilfet radin, kilche kruv. How do you say cabbage?
Yeah,
cabbage, right? Vudlat Ivanit, and the Greek pumpkin or gourd, whatever you want to call it. Right? Rabbi Akiva mosif af kikarot shel balabait. So Rabbi Akiva also adds kikarot of balabait. Kikarot of balabait are loaves of bread of a balabait, because that is going to be fitting haraui, right? Whether it's going to be for la, right, or la. Haraui le kila kerem. Which means that whatever the fruits are going to be, whether it's going to be orla, it's going to prohibit everything because of orla. Kila keren. Remember, orla is the first 3 years of the fruits of the tree. So says the Gemara, ve'it marala, and it was stated on it. Rabbi Yochanan says, et shedarko limanot shaninu. Et shedarko limanot, we're talking. Okay, but Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish omer kol shedarko. So basically, there's a machloka between Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish. Do we say et shedarko, kol shedarko? Which means we say that it's something that you always have to count it by number, or that you usually count it by number? Okay, that's the question. Because sometimes you don't count by number. Sometimes you just say, yeah, more or less, and then you just sell it. Kabish? So it all depends on how it is. Okay? So says the Gemara, Hanicha, this is good, right? According to the mandamar that Rabbi Shimon Lakish. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, Michael, what are you going to say? So Rav Papa says, Hai Tana, this Tana, right? Tana de litra ketziyotu is the Tana of the litra of ketziyot, which are basically tenim yubashot, figs which are dry. The Amar that he says, Kol davar shebinyan, anything which is sold in numbers, afilu b'drabanan, even if it's going to be midrabanan, the Yisur is drabanan, lo batil. The Kol sheken, if it's going to be doraita, the Tran, as we learned in the Mishnah, litra ketziyot shedrasal pi igul. Imagine you have this litra of truma of te'enim yubashot. So you got truma of te'enim, figs which are dried figs. Shedrasal pi igul. So the normal thing is that you make like an igul, which is basically a tablet, like a bread, like a round thing. Okay, but you don't know where you did it in. Al pi chavit, right? Or you did it on top of a chavit. But you don't know which chavit you used. You don't know which barrel you used it on. Or pi kaveret, or on top of a basket. You don't know which kaveret. Rabbi Meir says, right? Rabbi Eliezer, Daled Amud Aleph, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, we're going to look at the top ones as if that they're separate. And the bottom ones, which is chulin, are going to permit, they're going to be mitzaref to permit the top ones. And Rabbi Yoshua is going to say, if you have 100, then it's going to be good. Why? Because you could do it with 101. If not, pumin, it's going to be asurin, and shulaim is going to be mutarin. So that we'll explain already tomorrow. But the concept of that by truma, it's going to be 101. And what we mentioned yesterday was going to be 201. This is the one in the 200 to do with the kilei. We'll continue tomorrow.